夜も始まるよ猿たちの配信準備はいいかって世界に投げてコインの波間を一緒に泳ぐんだアピアピぶち上げるライブジャンプジャンプ月まで届けワンツースリーで勝って打って笑って振り回る夜に未来をつかめアピアピ止まらないバイブス森のテンタで夢を回せグラミーフランキチスポットとクリプトの嵐を今巻き起こせ
Yo, G-Spot, how's it going?
Yo, hanging in, bro. I'm out of coffee, but I think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah. How fucking sick is the new intro?
Dude, it's dope, bro. He be cooking. He be cooking the vids, bro.
Yeah, he's cooking. I gotta give a shout out directly to Blue Dreamers, handles Blue Bebop. He's an amazing animator. He made that new intro and he does our promotions, the anime videos, and he gives discounts to Apes and Mutants. So definitely hit him up if you're looking for animation. He's super fucking talented. Welcome to the 7th episode of the Whatever Show. I want to give a special thank you to the other side, Ape Chain and Other Games.xyz. Today, I want to mention if you want to be a guest on the Whatever Show sometime in the future, shoot a DM to me or G-Spot. We're pretty lined up for a while, but we'd love to see what people are building and set up interviews for the future. We're also open to partnerships and sponsorships, so reach out if you want to show off your work or collab with us in the show. So I'll now do my spiel. On our show, we want to showcase the most talented artists and builders in Web3, especially those building on Ape Chain and any other side. When people make decisions on where they choose to spend their time, attention, and money, it comes down to knowing and trusting the faces behind the projects. So on this show, we like to take a deep dive into the guests themselves and their origin stories. The Whatever Show is for people to learn about how artists and founders in the space found success and how to get started building on Ape Chain and in the other side. With that said, I'd like to introduce our guests for today. SimpleFarmer, founder of Stonk Brokers, Clutch Puppies, and Clutch Markets, and Uncle Mac, founder of Not a Punks, Cult, and a number of other Ape Chain collections. Hey, Uncle Mac, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. And yeah, you got my title wrong. It's clearly that it's founder of too much stuff. I kept it PG. I was gonna say founder of too much shit, but you shouldn't swear on the radio. So. Hey.
Bro, is that Gandalf doing a kickflip behind you, bro? What is this?
Yeah, you must have seen this meme pitch, right? Like, this is like early AI shit. My little brother got it for me for Christmas, and like,
that's
the Hobbit's
gnarly.
face is like mashed up. They're not good. So, but yeah, you got me. So that's my backdrop. Gandalf, represent.
Well, I'll fix your title. Welcome to the show, founder of Too Much Stuff. Thank you for bearing with us. I know it's like 2 a.m. your time or something.
Yeah, I had my little power nap. We're good. A micro sleep.
I managed to catch the Welcome Apes too.
Yeah, I'm actually getting
All right, so the first question I like to ask people, as far as SimpleFarmer, he had something else going on until 9, so he rescheduled. So I think he's going to jump in late in the interview. We're going to interview Uncle Mac first here. So the first question I like to ask people is, do you consider yourself an artist first, a developer first, or a founder first, and why?
An artist first, because that's what I've done for my entire life. I've been a tattooist, so my entire grown-up life is a sort of Peter Pan boy who never had to grow up and just drew pictures on people. And then NFTs is like tattoos, but on the internet. So yeah, artist first, then developer, and then I openly admit that I'm a abysmal shambles of a founder. Like, I do the pictures good, I do the dev good, not so good at the founding bit.
Artist first. So how did you get your start in art then? Like just through tattoos? Were you drawing before that?
I have been drawing since I was, as long as I can remember. So in the UK, we have what's called reception, which may be like your kindergarten in the US. And I remember even then, I was sort of painting stuff, and the other kids were asking me like, how did you paint that? And that literally just kind of carried on like all the way through secondary school and stuff. yeah, people had asked me instead of the teacher, they'd be like, hey, can you teach us how to draw a tree or some flames or something cool? And I'd be like, yep, I can do that.
And I mean, how did that evolve to? I guess when did you realize that you were going to be serious about art, that it was going to be your future?
When I first saw Miami Ink, if you guys must have seen Miami Ink, right?
No, I haven't seen it. What is it?
I've seen Miami Ink. It's like, it was like one of the early reality TV shows on like MTV. So they had like a tattoo studio in where was it, like Hollywood Beach or something? I can't think of it. Miami Ink, like Hollywood Boulevard, is that where it's called? That like main bit of strip, whatever. And yeah, they'd sort of film people coming in to get tattoos and the tattoo process and stuff like that. And that was the first time I was like, wait a minute, this is a job? You can do this? Because like my like only experience of tattooing up to then was seeing my mum get a tattoo, and I was like, it's just like a thing in it. Like you, like as a like teenager or a kid, you don't really get them. And then yeah, saw that, and they were doing like proper artwork, and it was like a real professional thing. And I was like, oh shit, you can do that? Cool. I'm pretty good at pictures. I could do pictures. So yeah, and then did it. That's pretty much it. Saw that was a thing. Bought the machine, tattooed the people, and 15 years of tattooing years later, I'm still here. So
are you like independent or own your own business with the tattoo artist, or are you working for another company?
So me and my friend own a studio, and we run it as like a really fair space of tattooing. There's a lot of tattooists who run shops and are pretty evil with it. They take massive rakes. They're essentially like the I don't know, the extractors of the tattooing industry world. They extract from their artists and their artist customers, and so yeah, me and my partner, we run like a really fair place that sort of works like communism, but if communism wasn't evil as well. So yeah, it's like a thing.
Well, congrats. How did you find like crypto and Web3?
My dad, my old dad, heard about this thing called Bitcoin. Obviously, he didn't mine millions of it because he was an idiot. We'll go with that. It's pretty harsh. He's not an idiot, but I mean, he must have been telling me about Bitcoin from like 2012, something like that, 2013, something like that. And I gave him 500 quid, which is pounds to you, or bucks, on his 50th birthday. So yeah, he's like 63 this year. So yeah, 13 years ago. So yeah, it would have been like 2011, 2012, something like that. Give him 500 quid to buy some Bitcoin. Did he buy some Bitcoin? Nope. So yeah, that was the first time I ever heard about it. But yeah, getting into it, I think it was 2017 when Ripple was coming up, and one of my mates told me about Ripple, and I'd heard about Bitcoin, I'd heard about these things, and I was like, right, let's get some of this Ripple then. And I don't even remember how I bought it. I think I literally like sent someone some money on a bank transfer along with like a Toast wallet address for Ripple, and it thankfully turned up. Like I didn't get rugged on my first crypto on the internet. So that was my first intro, Ripple. Just before it crashed, obviously, as well in 2017. So yeah, bought like 300 quid of it, and about 2 weeks later, it was worth like 30 quid. So good times.
So you're well, that was your second experience. I guess you did get rugged by your dad on the first 500 in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
What did you spend the 500 on?
I think so. So when I sent him the 500, Bitcoin was £100 each, and so the goal was to get 5 of them. And I think in between like the weekend of me sending it, it went up to 250, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not getting 2 of them. Not getting 2 Bitcoin." So yeah, if you could get 2 Bitcoin now for £500, Jesus, doesn't even bear thinking about, does it?
No, it's a fun story though.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what I got for questions here. So I was going to ask, what you do for a living outside Web3? You're a tattoo artist. Tell us about your history as an artist before you found the Web3 space. How did you find Ape Chain and the Bored Ape Yacht Club?
Through my co-founder of Not a Punk's Cult, Chip Monkey, who's a original Bored Ape minter. He sold, also a bad move. I mean, he made some profit. Back when they came out, a lot of people didn't know that they would make so much profit. So he came in early. He bought 1 or 2, I think, sold them, made some profit. Never got back in until he got his mutant. I think before Ape Fest Lisbon. Then he went there. Obviously, they announced that Ape Chain was a thing, and he knew I was an artist. So he was like, "Hey, we should make a thing." And I was like, "Cool, I've got a thing that I sort of played around with, but I never did anything with. We could do that thing," and remastered it and then launched it on ApeCoin.
Were you into NFTs or any of the space before that, or was that kind of like your intro to Web3 in particular?
Yeah, I was into the space through like developers and like cool stuff. So the place where I originally made Not a Punk's Cult, which were originally called Based on Punks, is a website called Indelible, and they're all about fully on-chain artwork with no-code solutions. And so I knew the developer of that site called Panda, and I asked him, "Can I really push your platform to the limits?" Because they've got like really small limits on file sizes, like 2 kilobytes. And I was like, "We can push that. We can try and make it go bigger." So we managed to get like 22.5 kilobytes in one trait. So that's where I originally built them as like an experimental thing, and then just got distracted and left them. And then when Chip Monkey came, that's where we like revived them, remastered them, and put them from there. And then my other NFT intro was a thing called Ether Legends cards. So in like early 2020, I like appeared in the NFT place, and I was like, "Oh, what they got here? NFTs?" And like the only one I could find was an Ether Legends card. So I bought 2 for my dad, 2 for me. Still got them like mint condition, sealed. And then obviously I buggered off and completely missed all of the NFTs. I think I looked at the email receipt that I got one time, and it must be, I think it's like March or February of like 2020 or 20. I can't think of when it is. But yeah, appeared too soon, didn't come back until like way too late, obviously. And, didn't get me generational wealth through monkey pictures. So, but I've got my Ether Legends cards. One day, those bad boys, they're going to the moon. Mint condition.
They're bound to come back. And the Ape Club's glad to have you now. So, okay, let's talk about your collections. I want to have G-Spot pull up the collections, because you sent over a number of them, and you're a founder of way too much stuff, which I love. Because I do the same thing with NFTs. I think NFTs are fun. A lot of mine, I like blast artwork out there. So like, yeah, let's check this out. Can you pull up Goobs first? I want to talk about Not a Punk's last.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us about the collection, basically.
So this was the second thing I launched on ApeChain, and I broke Reader's golden rule. So if you were there in the early days of ApeChain, Reader used to laud it in a good way. But he had this like rule is that you get one collection, that's it. If you do any more than one collection, like that's it, you're out. And so obviously I was like, yeah, I'll just do a second collection. What's Reader going to do to me? But no, so these are obviously inspired by Gobs. And when James brought out Gobs, I was annoyed because, like I said, the original, you could probably find them on OpenSea. You could look for Based on Punks on Base. The original ones were fully on chain on Base, and Indelible didn't support ApeChain, so there's no way to launch them from where they were onto ApeChain, and I had no idea how to be a dev at that point. AI coding didn't exist, or barely existed. A bit of ChatGPT. There was no way it was going to happen. So so James launched them, the first fully on-chain collection on ApeChain, and I was like, "You son of a bitch! I could have been the first one on ApeChain with Not a Punk's Cult in their original form, and I wasn't." So then, so that night that they came out, I managed to get one through the contract mint when everybody else was stuck on the landing page, on the homepage. I bought a gobs off the floor for like 100 ape. I minted like a really rare one, like a fire one with a halo and a gold chain. It was pretty sweet aesthetic. Maybe one day I'll sweep it back. That's my little tiny goal. But yeah, I brought out these, or I brought out those, and then yeah, the ADHD goblin, as I think me and James kind of both call it, was just itching, and I was like, I can't like. There's like a challenge and a call in me that, you know, someone does something cool and I have to rise to the account. Be like, all right, you can do that. Okay, I'll show you. You can do some pixels on chain, can you? All right, let me do some full illustrations on chain. Yeah. And so I made Googleus, which are full like 1-to-1 match with the original gobs, but in this fully illustrated vector style. And each one of them clocks in at somewhere like, I think it's like 30 to like 70 kilobytes. So if you know how big a kilobyte is, it's flipping tiny. So to get, you know, that kind of quality in a vector like illustration and not as a PNG is it's pretty cool. And we did something really cool with them, which the first and only collection maybe ever on any chain ever, is that the minters get royalties in perpetuity. So that entirety of that 192,000.8 thousand ape in royalties was distributed back to the people that minted them, and will continue to do so in perpetuity forever as long as ape chain exists.
Do you have any favorites from the collection that G-Spot can pull up?
I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with them because they are a derivative, and like part of me just irks at derivative, and like I hate when people like call them a derivative as well, because like, yeah, clearly they are derived from it, but you know, they also transform and, you know, move along the concept into a new format. So it's like, yeah, but like even me when I look at them, I'm like, derivative. I don't know if you've seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but there's that scene of Frank where he's dressed as like the art collector and he's like, derivative. And so, you know, that always plays through my head whenever I look at them. But yeah, they are cool. And I think the backpack, the one, you know, the hiking trait, that's probably my favorite one. And the VX sweater as well, because when I was trying to create them, the metadata for James's gobs just says VX. And I was like, what does VX mean? Like, and I was like, in my head, I was trying to come up with these different things. And because it's pixels, you don't really know what he means by VX in a pixel format. So I was like, what the hell can VX mean? I was like, very expensive. Like, and then I think I remember I managed to like DM him and message him. I was like, hey, what does VX mean? And he told me, and then I kind of understood it. But then by that point, I was like, I'm just going to put the letters VX on the t-shirt because I don't know, I still don't know what it's meant to be. So yeah, if you find the VX trait, it's literally just the letters VX like slapped on the t-shirt because I had no idea what to. There you go. See, I was like, I don't fucking know what to do with this thing.
That's pretty funny. Let's pull up another collection. Which one do you want to look at next? I don't want to go through all of them.
You can do goobs. So we can talk about the rug of goobs, which is a part of Rugadev. If anybody remembers Rugadev, who unironically lived up to his name of Rugadev and has not been seen for quite a while now, and owns this contract. So there's nothing I can do with this contract. I can't reveal them. I can't even like set the validator to let me burn them. The best I could do would be some sort of like safe transfer function to a vault wallet and then like remint them back out. Yeah, the rug of goobs. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I have like a list of like things that I still have to get back to, even though again it's one of these like points of thing that irks me. I'm like, it's not my job. Like, you know, Rugadev got paid a shit ton from our like project vault and mints of these goobs to do these and vanished. So but they're still pretty good. I mean, the illustration alone, just that animation is like, I think it's like 30 odd frames of hand illustrated illustration. And I think it took me something like 70 hours to illustrate every frame to be like, but I don't know how actual animators do it, but yeah, I animated every path of those like little blobs and globs as they move around.
G-Spot, can you pull up one of these? we can see the animation up close. It says hand drawn.
Yeah. And again, this is like before AI video gen got good. Otherwise, I'd just slap it in some AI video gen now. But yeah, every frame of that, I've got the thing for it. And then I had to do every frame of it in every colorway for each of the essence types of it. And yeah, and the big goobs look amazing. Like if you find the samples on the goblin .com, the big goobs, the like preview artwork, it just looks sick. And I know because I fucking drew it. So yeah, at some point I'm gonna like carve out time to like somehow burn them and remint them and you know, fix it. But yeah.
So have you got the art for all of the like revealed ones?
I've got all the art in layers, but it's one like I'm like a very energy motivated person. Like if people keep energy around something, so you know, if like the team are like hyped and like, yeah, let's do this, yeah, and there's like good feedback, then I stay on track of things. But when he disappeared and then, you know, it slowed down and it, like things get away from me. So I've got all the layers for the most part. They need a generator, which I can build myself now. They need a contract, which I can make myself now. It's just one of those things that like procrastinating against, and I'm still annoyed because it's not my goddamn job. But it is. But it, you know, it's not. It's one of those like things. It'll get done. It's on the list.
I mean, I'd love to see a burn to here we go. Another person wants their goobs.
Yeah, Top Guns. I want my goobs too.
Sorry, what?
I was just saying, it's Top Guns. I saw Top Gun's comment pop up saying we want our goobs. Yeah, I would like my goobs too. I would like Rigadev to come back and do his job.
Somebody help Uncle Mac set up a burn to redeem goobs collection. They don't think they're a boss. Yeah, I just want to take a second because SimpleFarmer joined. Say hi to SimpleFarmer. Got a bunch of people telling me to clock in.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yep. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Just clocked in here, you know, ready to run the stream with you guys. Glad we got to connect. G-Spot, we've met in real life as well, so glad to connect again. I feel like we've been distant for a little bit. I feel like, you know, we're like cousins that haven't been hanging out enough.
Dude, a cousin is a good analogy on that one.
especially you being from Alabama and all.
Yeah, yeah. You still in the States right now?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Georgia at the moment.
Cool. Yeah, that's too close. You gotta come to the restaurant, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been busy. There's been a lot going on.
I bet. Absolutely.
I appreciate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I appreciate you guys having me on stream and hosting this to, you know, help explain any questions and get the word out a little bit more.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to finish up interviewing Uncle Mac, and then we'll interview you too. But if you want to jump in or ask Uncle Mac any questions, you're welcome to. You know, just kind of open conversation here. But I've got questions to guide along. Can we pull up, or Uncle Mac, would you rather Mine Boys and Minecart Coin or Trench Pickles first?
do Trench Pickles. Another classic Uncle Mac ADHD goblin thing. So this is all like early ape chain lore, and if you weren't there in like the first, I don't know, 30 to 100 days, like in the days of Geist, sure, like rest in peace Geist, wherever you are in the world of chains and stuff. You know, like if you weren't there, then you know the lore just doesn't track. You don't have that like connection to it. But yeah, Trench Pickles. It was like one of his classic shows. It was a really quiet night. I think there was like 50 people in there or something, which was a quiet night for him. Usually he's pushing like 100, 120 odd people in the space every night, pretty much. So, yeah, they were. Jay don't quote fuck a Trench Pickles. Yeah, so in the space, I don't remember who. Someone floated like, oh, you know, if only there was a collection today. You know, if only there was something to mint. And I was like, I got time. I got a little bit of time to kill tonight. You know, it was only early. It was only like 9 o'clock in the evening. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to make a collection now, like live in the space. I'm going to make a collection. We're going to mint it tonight. And everybody who didn't show up, you know, fuck them, essentially. So I like messaged Geist and I was like, keep the show going. Like, keep the show going. Like, just drag it out. Keep it going. I got something. I'll cook it. And I was like, scribbling away on the iPad. I was drawing these. I don't even know how many traits there are. What are there? 5, 8, 7, 10. Yeah, I mean, there's a good 30 odd traits there. Generative art, put it together. So yeah, put it all together, put it onto MintPad, generated it, launched it, and then overnight, I think they went to 100 or some, maybe even 200 ape floor back when ape was probably 50 cents still or something. And I woke up, I'd not minted myself any, obviously. I think I'd set 0 royalties. So yeah, that 35,000 ape of volume is just people who are in the space bought them, and then the next day people are talking about them like what the fuck are trench pickles? I think Dutchy had me on one of these morning shows, what the fuck are these trench pickles? What happened to these? And they'd run up overnight and then they crashed just as quick. But then so the law carried on. So launched them in the space, and then within the next 24 hours, I did a mutant collection. So you can search for mutant trench pickles. Oh. And so in the same 24 hours, launched a mutation of it. And then in the same week,
in true early ape chain fashion, the mutant trench pickles.
I don't even know if they come up. Mutant trench pickles. I got no idea.
OpenSea ain't having it.
Tease it and then go to collections.
They're not going to do. They're doing me like that. It does exist. It's somewhere, but yeah, mutant trench pickles, and yeah. Then in the same week, we had a staking contract with dill token, so $dill, because pickles is dills, and you'd put it was in the brine. I think that might even be the website. It might be the brine.xyz. Might still be up. You might still be at a stake summon. I think it emitted something like 420 million a second. And the token count was 420 billion or so, or 69 billion. We just picked, ridiculous numbers just to highlight the ridiculousness of it. And Jed, we were talking about Jed before, is he put it the best. He called it performance art, and that's probably the best thing it was. It was done in the space. 24 hours later, the next space there's a mutant collection. 24 hours later, there's a staking contract, and it was like a sort of jibe at some collections, what are you doing? If I can do this in 24 hours, what are you doing? So and ironically now Goobs has been unrevealed for over a year, so you win some, you lose some. That's how it goes sometimes. So good fun. I think I still remember the sort of insomnia of that. I think, yeah, good times.
I love the you calling it performance art, in performance art collections. I think I've seen a couple of them. I made one of them called Horses, but yeah, I don't know. I love those collections. They're just made on the fly, during a space or during a live stream. Maybe we can cook one up right now.
Oh God, no! I've not slept enough. I've already been doing that. The man's here. The man's seen. He's seen some of the stuff. The ADHD goblin got me today. I've had 4 hours sleep. I was awake all last night. I've been awake all day today cooking something because SimpleFarmer had to rock up, didn't it? And he had to post some cool shit. And so I had to go, some cool shit, is it? I'll make some cool shit too. And so now I've not slept for 24 hours. So yeah, we're not doing it as well.
No, no worries. But I really appreciate you joining the show, especially at 2 a.m. there without any sleep. But okay, let me see. Lastly, why don't we talk about Mine Boys and Minecart Coin?
Yeah, Mine Boys are probably one of the smartest things. Mine coins are just a pretty simple thing. I'll cover them quickly at the end. But yeah, Mine Boys are. I think it's in the description. You can probably look at the description. I'll probably describe it better. But it's the first and only proof of work mined NFT on any chain ever. Not just that it was mined via proof of work, but the proof of work hash that it was mined under creates the artwork generatively at the time that it was mined and minted, and they're fully on chain as well. And they recently got an artwork upgrade to be fully on chain but prettier.
How does that work?
So there was MineBoy, and MineBoy is like a proof of work SHA-256 mining simulator. So exactly the same way that Bitcoin works, it mines hashes, and when you find a hash that has a targeted suffix or prefix, which can be like a series of letters or numbers, a series of bytes, it says this is a valid hash. And so every MineBoy is a valid hash from mining the MineBoy game, which was like a gamified proof of work miner. And then what it does is it uses the whole hash and it assigns traits by byte in 16 by 16 combinations, which gives you 256 like slots, and that's how you do your rarity. And so it builds them up from the bottom. So like the first 2 digits is like the body type, like alien, zombie, light, dark, that kind of thing. Then the next trait up is like mouth, and the next trait up is eyes, and the next trait up is hat, and stuff like that. So they're like, their image is a representation of their hash, which is, I think, a truer version of like an ordinal or an inscription. If ordinals did something like this, then I would like ordinals. But ordinals is just like, trash graffiti written on the back of a, £10 note, in my opinion.
Have you heard of what's it called? Digital matter theory or whatever, the Nat Cats?
No, I've not heard of it. Go for it.
It's a collection on Bitcoin, and I think it's probably maybe made after yours, but like I think it has a similar thing where they have the artwork generated by the hash, but it's not mining or anything like that.
Yeah, I think a few people have done stuff like that, where like the transaction hash or the token hash or the hash or something like generatively or proceed, like does it with code. I think Fade, I think Frosty's Fade does that. I think I can't remember people's names. I'm bad at names, but like they have like patterns and stuff like that, and those are generated from the thing. There's that guy who did it on Abstract really early on. I can't remember his name. Terrible at names. But yeah, I don't think anyone's ever like combined traits in like a traditional like PFP style generative way that generate on demand as well. Because usually when you do a generative collection, you have to like smoke test it all. You got to do a bunch of generations, make sure you like this one, make sure all the rules work, make sure you don't have to re-roll any. So to like generate live and on demand is a bit tricky. You have to make sure it's like, rock solid when it actually comes out of the thing.
Yeah, we had a couple buys come in. I like this concept a lot. I was about to sweep some, but I don't have my wallet ready here.
They are cool, and their artwork got upgraded. And yeah, if you know, then you know, Mind Boys are the alpha. Oh yeah, there was a really cool thing that Mind Boys did as well. So we made something called Mind Blocks, which is where you could put all of your Mind Boys into a block, and that represents the fractional share of the mint of 70% of the mint fee of all Mind Boys in the season. So from that, we generated like 40,000 ETH, not ETH, that'd be great, 40,000 APE, and it was split amongst all those people. And you can even still find those now. So you could probably search Mind Blocks as well. I think there might be 1 or 2 that are left uncracked, and they have APE trapped inside of them. So if you own them, you can go to the Mind Blocks contract and get them out. Shit, again.
I don't think those are pulling up. OpenSea's slipping.
Tab right in the beginning.
But it was crazy though, Uncle Mac. I like well, hold on. Like I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I remembered Mind Blocks, went back in there and claimed like 500 and something ape coin out of the blocks that I made. So
I mean, you should have done it when they were there, because coincidentally, it's just correlation. There's no causation that we can draw from this. But the last time that MindBoy ran and then stopped was when ApeCoin went from like 30 cents down to like on its downward trend that it went on, and slowly picked up. So maybe if MindBoy turns back on, we get back to 30 cents again. I'm just saying, the last time that my ApeCoin was 30 cents, that's when MindBoys were live. So you should have claimed it then. Could have got double your money.
Is what it is. But it was funny because I remembered making the blocks, and I was like, damn, I need to go back and claim those things. So they were there ready for me, waiting.
G-Spot, can you pull up the video with the GM, some minecart madness behind the scenes? I think this is about, you had avatars and carts. I'm not sure what this was for, but could you tell us about this video once he pulls it up? Or full screen it maybe?
Yeah, so that music haunts my dreams, honestly. I hear it in my sleep.
I can play it if you want me to. I can run it.
So minecart is like a physical game representation of mining. So it does pretty similar stuff. There's a hash which generates a seed, which generates an endless runner, and you can actually play it more like a real endless runner game, like Temple Run or like Dookie Dash, because that's what it was inspired by. It's currently in development as Minecart 2. You can play it on minecart.app. You can play the newest version of it. You can play the old version of it as well. And yeah, people just played it like Dookie Dash. Get the longest run, don't crash, collect coins, which is what those minecart coins are. Yeah, there you go. That's what it looked like in V1. And like I said, you can go play Minecart V2 in the browser. And so what it is as well is a server authoritative game where every action that you take in the game gets replayed in the server to prove that everything that you did would have ended in the result that you got. So it knows where you are on the track and which track you're on, and if there's a coin on that track, and if there's an obstacle, and if you slow down a little bit because you hit a traffic cone, or if you crashed through a thing and consumed some dash, and if you hadn't yet, it goes on and on. So you got to build like these layers and layers and layers of systems that like talk to each other and re-simulate what's going on, so that it verifies the result at the end. Because there's like a lot of Web3 games, or even just games in general and prototypes that don't have any server. And so when something's in like 3JS or just normal JavaScript or anything that you can go in the like developer console tab, you can just change whatever you want. Like you can just say, I scored 1 million points, made it all the way to the end, I won the game, give me all of the prizes. And so if you have no authority, anybody can claim that, and I can't say that they are wrong. But with a server authority, I can do that. And such was the case with our well-known friend Flepsid, who tried to cheat my game of Minecart by playing it 2 times slower. So he tried to play it at half speed so that he could navigate all the obstacles really easily. And because my my server snitched on him, I caught him and I disqualified him from the competition. So he got no prizes. And there's always prizes and things that I do. So yeah, Minecart.
How did you put this game together? Did you make the game, or were you working with a team or something?
Everything in there is built by me and some meshy AI generation. So yeah, at some point in my drawing pictures career, I downloaded Cursor and started learning to code. And so yeah, pretty much everything you've seen since September, maybe August, September of 2025 has been my code and the robot man's coding, but me telling the robot man what to do and putting it together and making sure it works and stuff like that. So, and each time I feel like I get a little bit better. I make it a little bit crisper, a little bit smoother, a little bit smarter. Oh yeah, we forgot about the mine and the picks. How could you forget about that? We might not have time, but it's okay.
We got time. What's up with the mine and the picks?
So the mine was the original proof of work miner on ApeChain, and people mined gold ore through the mine.io. It took over the whole ape. This is again like early ApeChain lore. If you weren't there, then you just don't know the feelings of it. Everybody was mining. Crypto bullies had like 3 MacBooks on the go. He probably still owns like 100 odd pickaxes. People were mining 24/7, and so it was. So this was like the first version of a proof of work mined NFT, which is the gold ores, which are only on OS Wiki because OpenSea doesn't support the contract. And so people used their pickaxes and they used it with a miner, and the miners were like probably 90% of the collections or the reputable collections on ApeChain at the time. So people were using typical tigers, people were using pixel pals, people were using Gs, gobs, Googleus, NPCs, everything you can think of. And they had a 24-hour cooldown. And so what people were doing is they were buying them off the floor and then using them to mine, getting the gold, and then ditching them. And the next person that bought it had to wait a 24-hour cooldown or ditch it again and try and buy another one. And so like you can probably see a transaction volume, because I think it did about 200,000 transactions in 2 weeks, just the mining itself. But you can also see probably like a spike of activity in that early March range on the whole chain, where people were waping and buying and selling different floors of different collections to use them to mine. and then yeah, ditch them again. And then eventually the gold ore became the gold merchant, which is the token only ever goes up token, which again nobody else has done before, I don't think, or not like we did. And so from a piece of gold ore, you can claim Nugget, the token, and Nugget has a fixed value that you can claim at any time, kind of like the mine blocks again. So if you've got a shit ton of gold ore, go and sell it to the merchant for Nugget, and then you can sell that Nugget for ape, and it will pay you a fixed price. And I think the fixed price is something like 0.002 ape per piece of gold. And there's a 21 million supply to match Bitcoin's 21 million supply as well. So, and this thing still like lives in my, like, this is like one of my favorite ones. I've got too many favorites. They're all my favorites. But yeah, this will see a return at some point. Will the old mine? And the best bit about this one was it was fully on chain, so didn't require any servers, didn't require any like backends or authority. It was pure contract logic. Like, you took the miner, you took the pickaxe. If it still had energy to mine, and if it was a real pickaxe and it mined and it found a hash and it claimed the hash that it said it found, you got the NFT. And as simple as that. And I still think it's one of the cleverest things I've concepted. And even though Rugged built the contracts and stuff, I put the first version of this together in like 2023 using ChatGPT in like HTML. So I was getting ChatGPT. I was like, hey, this is the idea. Like, there's a hash. It's looking for this. They click the button. It does this boobity boobity boop thing. And then they click the button. They get the hash, and there's an NFT. And obviously, I couldn't make it myself, so I had to get him to make it. And apart from being a brilliant magician who vanishes himself, he is a brilliant dev, and he did put together a pretty damn good smart contract that did all the things that it said it did. So kudos to him on that. But also, where the fuck are you?
So the picks, did you have to have Not a Punk's cult and equip the picks in the mine? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, so the first three collections were Gobs and G's and Not a Punk's cult.
Gotcha.
And so you could buy a pick, and what we had was you could buy any of the picks in any of the tiers, and so we offered this like choice. And so there's three different types. There's a drip axe, a blue steel, and a Morgul pick hammer, and they offered a different reward bonus on the amount of gold that you got in your gold ore. And so what was funny and like quite an interesting experiment was the most expensive ones sold fastest. Like the drip axes sold fastest because they had the best value proposition, which was 4 times the yield. And then it went like down a tier and down a tier and down a tier. But yeah, there was a time where, drip axes were probably like 200 or 300 ape, I think. And you can see the provenance of every piece of gold that they mined. Like all the different rarities that you see is how much gold it mined. And even now, if you own the pickaxe and someone sells the gold ore to the merchant, you will receive Nugget when they sell it to the merchant. So it's like each of these is like a royalty essentially. So whoever holds the pickaxe gets the gold, or gets like a portion of the gold every time it's sold to the merchant. See, there's so much about it that I can't even remember how much there is about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and that's a thing. Oh, and yeah, it does that as well. So, and I drew all the pictures myself. So no AI there, all completely hand drawn. Every one of them, I think, has a Procreate screen record that's somewhere on my profile still as well.
Yeah, I don't know, Uncle Mac. You said that you're artist first, and you don't really have a handle on founding, but like all of your projects that you're founding are like super innovative.
That's the bit that I don't have a handle on, is somehow tying them together or sticking to a thing. But I think that's also kind of part of my jam. Like, I wouldn't be me if I didn't come up with some new nonsense every like 3 or 4 weeks. If I didn't have something shiny, like I'm just like you guys, like the degens. You guys like chasing the new shiny thing. I like building the new shiny thing. And there's so many new shiny things to build all the time that like, I can't stop. Like, it's genuine. Like, this is my addiction. Like, some of you have like NFT collecting addictions. I have like NFT and smart contract and game and development, creating addictions. So
Let's talk about Not a Punk's Cult before we get too late here.
Yeah, man. These are my babies. These are the first ones. Launched within the first, what was it, like 33 days of Ape Chain. So, they're as old as some of the oldest, older than some still. And yeah, they're just, in my opinion, damn good artwork. Like I said, they're originally inspired by punks. So when I made them on base, they're called based on punks as like a pun. For bass and punks, and they made the word bop, which was quite cool. And yeah, then we brought them to Ape Chain. Chipmunky suggested Not Punk's Cult, and because they've got like so that's one of my favorite traits in punks. If I ever have a crypto punk, it will have the blue and white headband, and I love the buck teeth as well. So yeah, and you can see in that one, so that's like a synth body, so it's got like a synth metadata, and inside of it you can see like the synth like underlay like through its skin. The tattoos, I think I might have tattooed that tattoo or something very similar to it on a customer, because I referenced my own tattoo artwork to put on these guys. And I think as well, these have some of the best tattoo artwork on any collection you've ever seen, because like why not put your bread and butter on that? So that's like a traditional like tiger and roses kind of style one. And then I think the other one is, what's the other one? They're a tiger, a dragon, and you might have to find it in the tattoos metadata. I can't remember. Too much stuff. Eagle, that's it. Yeah, big like traditional American traditional eagle on the chest.
Oh, gnarly.
Yeah. And the thing about the tattoos as well, each one is like toned to the skin tone. So every tattoo layer has a version of it for 7 of the different skin tones that exist, so that it can exist and look really nice on each of the skin tones. Because if you just overlay that blue color without any what's called a blend mode in things like Procreate or Photoshop or something, it just doesn't work. It doesn't look like it's on the skin. It just looks like a tattoo that's stuck on the body. So yeah, and like if you look at like the beards, they work in like a really cool way. So if you find like a hoodie beard, you'll see that the hoodie is like a hood up, and it's one of the few collections that does a hood up well, where the shape of the face the silhouette of the face doesn't interfere with the hoodie. And that's because the hoodie is actually behind and in front of the character. So if you look at the one with like the pipe, like the first one, that pipe is in front of the back of the hoodie, and then the hoodie is in front of the rest of the face and in front of the neck and stuff as well. And so it goes over the eye layer, so you don't get that like Bored Ape Crazy Eyes effect where it's in the wrong like layer grouping. And I think I spoke about this with James on a space before. That's why my mutants got crazy eyes, is because Crazy Eyes taught me how to do this. When I looked at Bored Apes and I saw Crazy Eyes, and I was like, why do those crazy eyes not like come out above the like peak of the cap? That's what made me go, oh, so what if you split things into layers and then you use rules to decide how they combine? So when when Crazy Eyes, do the socket behind the hat, put the hat on, and then put the eyes back on in front of it so it sticks out the front. And then if you've got like a hoodie on top of the hat, on top of the thing, then put part of the hoodie over here and put part of the hoodie behind. So, and this is part of where I think I learned like the concept of coding is like if you have this layer, then do this layer, and if you have that layer, then do that layer, and if you have that layer, then do that layer, and that's pretty much code. So yeah, Crazy Eyes taught me to code. That's how we put it.
Thanks to PP Man, and happy birthday. Do you have is there any involvement with this collection on the other side? Do you guys have other side avatars?
Yeah, so they've got avatars. Those are created by Chipmunky. So we've got like robots, and it's funny, our robot synth. So if you find the prototype, it should be synth. Yeah, you can see synth there underneath mouth. There's a 1 of 1 in it called the prototype, and that's kind of loosely what our synth bodies are based on in the other side. And then we have like floating heads, kind of like the Voyagers. I'm pretty sure ours existed before the Voyagers. Like they came out afterwards because the Swamp came out, right? And we had the old Voyagers, and then the Nexus came out and we changed into them. But I'm pretty sure we already had our avatars in there. So it's kind of weird. Like sometimes I think people think that our avatars are just Voyagers, but they're not. So yeah, we got those. I think we've got all of our traits as head layers. So we've got like floating heads on the robot body. And yeah. So yeah, fully integrated on the other side. These are the cult leaders. Oh, we had such good plans for the cult leaders. Again, rugged dev, bastard. But you know, I'll get to everything eventually. Eventually I'll be like, oh, that's a great idea for this. Let's do that today. And then I'll make the thing that does the thing. So, but yeah, each of these is like a cult leader of each of the affiliations. So there's like the sovereign one, there's the enigma, there's the reaver, there's a clairvoyant one, and they each have like a, you know, like a sort of domain that they control. Because originally this was planned to just be a storytelling collection. Like we had no plans of utility, we had no plans of anything. Just me and Chipmunky were just drawing pictures and posting on the timeline, and nobody cared. These minted for free, essentially. If you look at the transactions, you can see that one notable person minted like 900 of them. We had to buy like 400 odd back before we'd actually made any profit. So he minted it under an issue with MintPad where it didn't like uphold the like limits on per wallet. So we minted like 900 of them. I had to pay him 75 ape to get half of his stack back. And then when I minted Goobaloos, they ripped, they went up. You can see it on the chart, you know, the day that I announced that a Goobaloo would get, an NPC would get a free claim of a Goobaloo. And so they ripped because people wanted the Goobaloos. I think he sold into that. And yeah, that was like a fun bit of lore of it. So good times.
Quickly, what was the process like for getting the other side avatars made? Like, who'd you work with, or what were the costs look like?
So it was Chipmunky. Chipmunky did it. So Chipmunky's like me. He's a tinkerer. He really likes the other side, and that's what he wanted to kind of be in charge of for Not a Punk Skull. So he built the bodies himself. He learned to do the 3D modeling. He learned to do the rigging, and he put them all together himself. So full kudos to Chipmunky.
Sorry.
Oh, you could go ahead.
I was gonna say I just got two more questions for you here. One, what's your favorite achievement in the Web3 or crypto space so far?
Still being here after all this time. Somehow I like to say that I only like charge mint funds to keep buying more Red Bull and pizza. And since I had a baby formula, and so far I've managed to like stave off bankruptcy and keep the supply of Red Bull and pizza going. So that's my greatest achievement. I'm still here, like still cooking.
Can't ask for more than that. And then one last question. Do you have any advice for someone that's starting from scratch, looking to launch their own project on ApeChain?
Just go home. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Like you'll never sleep again. Your wife will leave you in the third year. True story. My fiance did actually break up with me for a year, and she gave me a little mate, no more NFTs. And I was like, what about just a little bit of NFTs? So no, I'm like it's a big commitment. Like, you know, it's if you know the Tenacious D song, I love a good Tenacious D reference. There's a line, and he's like, so you think you're gonna wake up at the crack of noon and put on a t-shirt and become the next like rock god? And he's like, well, I got sour news for you, Jack. It ain't that easy. And so like that's what I'd say. You know, it's like you think you're gonna go on MintPad. You think you're gonna put your collection artwork in there. You're gonna press mint. You're gonna sit back, smoke a J, and everybody's gonna mint your collection. You're gonna make 100 ETH overnight, and you're gonna buy that pink Lambo, and you're gonna be the next Gaga. You're gonna be the next whoever, and it just doesn't happen. You know, it's everyday grind. You got to keep trying. It's just one of those things. So if you're not down for it, just put the iPad down, step away, go to bed. Not at 3 o'clock in the morning. Go lie down next to your missus. Don't think about NFTs. Like, just be a trader. Like, genuinely, I don't know. No, it's too harsh. I'll not carry on there. If you want to be a founder, like, commit to it. But I would say, 99% of people, and probably even 99% of founders, aren't cut out for it. It can be heartbreaking at times. You've probably seen me on the timeline a fair few times when I have my little mezzy bezzy breakdowns, and I'm like, why does nobody love me? And like it genuinely does get to you. And sometimes you just feel like you're shouting into the void. So like if you're going to commit to it, it is a lot of commitment. Yep, solely iPod. Fuck this. Bye.
Honestly,
Sorry, got a stunk broken now, agent. Just keep that. You good. Set for life. Generational wealth done.
it's got to be my favorite answer to that question so far on the show. Thank you for that. And I'm sorry that we're sending you to bed at 3 a.m., but I appreciate you joining the show. I love looking over all your collections, and I think you're a very innovative founder and a fantastic artist. So I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
You're welcome to stick around. We're interview SimpleFarmer, but obviously I know it's 3 a.m. by you, so if you want to take a crash, it's totally cool. But
I'll probably stick around. I'm going to grab another cider though, so you can hide me for a little bit, and I'll pop back and yeah, I want to hear what SimpleFarmer's been up to, just in case I haven't already spoken to him today. I don't know anything about speaking to anybody. All right, I'll be back in a little. Thanks for having me, but yeah, I'll still be here. So yeah,
of course, thank you. All right, we got a little intermission, which is the promo video that we made. G-Spot, do you want to cue it up while I go to the bathroom real quick?
Yes, sir.
ネオンのジャングル夜は飛び越えて画面の向こうから叫びがバズってる暗いファンキー歯を見せて笑う G スポットは指先でチャートを切り裂くスマホの光が瞳に火をつけて今夜も始まるよ猿たちの配信準備はいいかって世界に投げて恋の波間を一緒に泳ぐんだアビアビぶち上げろライブジャンプジャンプ月まで届けワンツースリーで勝って打って笑ってくりまな夜に未来をつかめアビアビ止まらないバイブス森の電波で夢を追う世界にサンキー G スポットとクリプトの嵐を今巻き起こせ
Sweet.
Did you cue that up right in time, Gravity? Woo! Peter.
SimpleFarmer, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Great video.
Thank you. We got someone complimenting. And more clock ins. You have no idea how many clock ins we're getting right now.
Oh, good. It is time to clock in. I mean, we have had like 450 clock ins on Songbrokers, so it's working, which is great.
All right. Let me see what I got here. Okay, before we get into the elephant in the room, I want to get into your backstory a little bit and more about you. So tell me what you do outside of web. Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't here for the first question, which I usually ask everybody. So do you consider yourself a founder first, an artist first, or a dev first, and why?
I think I'm a founder. I think I'm a business person. I like challenges. I've done many businesses and they've all gone really well. I used to restore G-Wagons, like the really old ones, the 80s G-Wagons, and flip them. And that was a really fun hobby. I've also had a bar, like I've been in the hospitality business, and it was super successful. It was just hard physically to drink and hang out with people late nights really often. But my main thing before crypto was I actually did I flipped products on like Amazon and eBay and stuff, like Gary Vee stuff, and my store still runs. I ship a couple things every day. It's nice and it's an easy thing to do. I kind of collect like retro gaming stuff, and then it appreciates in value with time, and it's a nice little side grind. And even when something's not listed, it just appreciates in value. So it's like a nice little savings account on the side, in case, because you never know with crypto, of course. But yeah, I've had a lot of experiences too. I worked for ApeCo and ApeChain, which is a subsidiary of Yuga Labs. I worked closely with Arbitrum One in the past and received grants from them as well as Polymarket. And yeah, I've been developing for a couple years now. And like Uncle Max said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, that's for sure. This is one of the better way better moments for myself in my development career. But that's how it goes. Iterative process. You strike lightning in a bottle moments. You've got to experiment. And I think what the best part of everything that happened with stockbrokers is the path leading up to it. I think people were really satisfied with, because we did a burn to mint process essentially. And so the people who believed, like, long term, ended up doing well, which I felt was fair. And so I'm always going to continue that process, and I'm always going to continue to experiment and improve, both as an individual and as a developer.
I wanted to circle or pull it back a little bit to the online store that you said you had, and the retro gaming collection they have. So the online store is for retro gaming stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's some stuff that's cool, but most stuff isn't that cool. It's I tried to monopolize like old Nintendo batteries that are original batteries and stuff like that, and I like to be the only one who has them on the market. And then you can charge a fair price for them. They go for like 40-50 bucks, and I can get them for like, I think I accumulated like 4,000 units for like $3 each.
Nice.
And it's up moving them at 40, and it's something that it's like a product that I've been selling for like 3 years, just 2 a day. And you just slap a label on this little thing and you send it out, happy customers. It's an easy thing, and it's always been a nice side hustle since I was in college, and that helped me actually travel the world quite a bit.
Congrats. Yeah. So you don't have any other you don't have like a retro gaming collection out of hobby aside from that or anything?
I do. I mean, I have some Pokemon cards. I have like a original Charizard and stuff like that. I liquidated some of the retro gaming stuff. Like I said, Web3 grind. You got to sell things. I even sold my car after ApeCo essentially shut down. So you got to do what you got to do to pay the bills. And that was I have one more G class, but that was my second to last one. It was a green one. It was a pretty sweet one. So yeah, just collecting and enjoying things. But lately, I've been into NFTs more than ever, and I'm very, very new to NFTs. I mean, a year and a half at most.
And I'm sorry, I'm interested in your backstory before we go full on into NFTs. What are some of your favorite hobbies in Web2 or outside of Web3 world?
I like to play soccer a lot. I like sports in general, basketball as well, recreationally. I like to go to the gym and just lift weights, and go to the sauna as well. I find it very soothing for the mind, especially working in Web3. You get a lot of screen time, and it can be detrimental, I really think, to somebody's mental health long term, unless you rebalance that with outdoor activities, sports, and things like that. So that's one of my main priorities each day, is to get some form of exercise in, so that I can make good logical decisions. And because a lot of people, I think, are invested into things that I'm building, and that matters to me, that I can perform to a certain level. So I have to take care of my health daily so that I can continue to make those good decisions.
I hear you with the sauna helping out with crypto, especially. Your bio says that you are my dev's dev. So I wanted to hear what your story is as a developer up to this point.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been doing a fair amount of projects. I've worked not only for ApeCo, but also for other teams in helping them develop, and with myself and some people who have worked for Clutch Labs with me as developers. The dev team at Clutch Labs is also currently helping Ernest Lee and Aaron Haber develop Unvault, which is a cross-chain NFT marketplace with some really interesting royalty functionalities. We built quite a few projects. I've helped Jason Horder and Proof Alpha Degen with an Ape Games deployment as well. Right before the last Ape Fest, they had an activation that they did, and they've all been very positive results. We built the Wheel of Fate too, if you were familiar with that. That's where NFT Drew actually won aboard Ape. That was before I started working for ApeCo. The last independent project before I started working for ApeCo is we built that product for Ape Chain itself as part of Spotlight Season 2. And it was really successful. It was like super high TX, and a lot of people, I think, had an interesting experience with that, where people had to play these balls essentially to try to win prizes, and somebody won a mutant and somebody won a Bored Ape. So all in all, really positive and a learning experience. I'm always trying to pick up new things, because I think what my brain is the best at is like I look at things and I try to part them out and maybe put them back together in different ways. And then if you do that with like Web3 technology, you can lead to what are essentially interesting inventions. And I think that's what we've achieved.
Can you tell us a little bit about your time at ApeCo, what you did for them, and how you landed in that position?
Yeah, I mean, so I spoke to Cameron, who's the president of ApeCo, and he essentially offered me a job, and I think he resonated with the fact that I was hustling and doing good work in Web3, and that I think I have good people skills as well. So my role was essentially head of DeFi, but I did a lot of BD, like a lot of BD, and that was mostly involved with communicating and connecting with people across different chains, with deployers and developers, trying to bring them to ApeChain as well. We brought, like a Pokemon gachapon, which is called Slapcash, which is still to date, I think the second highest protocol by revenue in the history of ApeChain, which is pretty cool. And I was just trying to do activations like that. We did collabs with Arbitrum One, with MetaMask. I was able to connect with them as well to achieve that. Solana and Hyperliquid as well to work with Project X, and they were great too. So all of these communications put me in rooms, I mean, virtual rooms, with people who are high level Web3 executors and developers. And when you have a positive relationship with somebody, those relations tend to last. And I consider a lot of those people my friends today. And that learning experience, I think, is something that gives me a bit of a leg up now that it's Robinhood season.
So I guess based on that, is there any like advice or tips that you would give someone that's looking to build connections in the space?
Yeah, I mean, so I think in the space, the biggest issue for people is, like, even for myself, is a lot of people DM people for handouts. They ask favors, and you can't lead with favors. I think you have to lead with service. I think if you do somebody great services and you are valuable for free, then opportunities will come your way naturally. You have to be so talented that essentially it's irresponsible for people not to hire you or give you opportunities. That's always the mindset that I've put forth myself. I remember even in when I was deploying Clutch Labs, a decentralized parlay platform, Ryan Smith, who works for Yuga now, really stood out to me as an individual. He did a video explaining my protocol and how it worked, and I didn't message him. Like, I didn't DM him. We had no communications. He was just like highlighting ApeChain stuff, and he took the time, probably like an hour at least of his day plus editing, to put together a video like that. I think that is a really key mindset to succeeding in Web3, because there's a lot of people trying to do a lot of things. It's a relatively saturated market with relatively limited liquidity right now. Hopefully that story changes long term. So those type of individuals stand out, and I think they do well in general. And I'm not saying that that's not you guys as well. I think you guys are all really talented and you do great stuff. Uncle Mac as well. Shout out to him. He knows I reached out to him today for a reason. We have interesting plans. We have a token launchpad coming out next Friday, and I wanted to bring in and raise up super talented developers and help them use that platform as a potential path to success.
Can I get the early CA?
No, we don't know it yet, right?
Oh, I'm just kidding. That was a good alpha, though. I'm gonna keep an eye out. Okay, yeah, I don't want to. I'm still trying to hold off. I really want to ask about stockbrokers, but I want to get through the backstory first. Sounds like you're a very talented dev. You could have went to a lot of industries. So how did you find Web3 and why did you stick around?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because like Uncle Mac mentioned, it's probably the highest risk, lowest potential reward. I mean, you can have high reward, but you have a very, very small chance of getting to those high reward opportunities. And that makes it something that you kind of have to be a crazy person. You're picking the hardest possible path, I think, to achieving things, but everybody feels like they have a chance, which kind of makes it fun as well. Why I choose it, I don't know. I think I do like doing difficult things. I mean, I go to the gym and lift heavy weights for no reason too, just to combat gravity and make myself a stronger individual. And I think that's probably why I like crypto and the space as well, because it's the hardest business I've done by far.
When you were just getting started in the space, what were some of your favorite like NFT or token projects?
Yeah, I really, the first NFT I'd ever heard about, like early crypto days, like before I was actually trading on chain, was Bored Apes. I heard about them before I heard about punks, to be honest. So, it was always interesting to me. And then working for the subsidiary of Yuga Labs and ApeCo, I was like, that's kind of cool. Like that feels cool. That feels like a major achievement in my book for me. And, being paid to actually help try to drive up things around Ape Chain was a very cool experience. But I also really like Pudgy Penguins. I think they have beautiful IP, and I think they're doing great things on the retail side. I think Good Vibes Club is awesome IP as well, and they have a really smart team, and they're hungry, which is super important. If you have complacent people running your crypto projects, it's tough. If they're cozy, it's tough because it's so competitive and it's so limited in terms of liquidity. You need to have, I think, either super creative people leading or super hungry plus creative people. Like that's the ideal scenario. I also really, really like Corky's. I like the Corky's founder. I think he's great. I like what Cyberkongs do, where they experiment with a lot of stuff on chain and give their holders opportunities to join them in those experiments. That's something I resonate with. There are too many communities to name. All of the Anvil communities, those are founders that I think are super awake and around. The ones who deployed to the Anvil on ETH mainnet and base with the regions and Jed, Capo and Monos. You know, too many to name, honestly. There's a lot of great developers. There's a lot of people that are honestly doing their best, and they probably feel like they're underachieving. I don't feel like their perceived underachievement is a reflection of their effort. I think it's more of a reflection of the difficulty and the current situation in crypto as a whole, more than their decision making. And if you can't fault somebody's decision making, then you know that's that's null. That's a null argument.
When I was looking into your work and collections, it seems like you experiment between different chains a bit. I think it was Base, Robinhood Chain, Ape Chain. Uh, I'm wondering if you could speak on that and if you recommend that strategy to founders versus being like a maxi on one chain.
Well, look, I think crypto's in general moving to a chain agnostic future, and a lot of our applications work without really having to be stuck on one chain anyway. Everyone's plugging in Relay so that you can bridge between chains easily. I think there is benefits to sometimes starting in smaller chains because I think those smaller ecosystems with a little less people are actually it's easier to break through on, especially because those people are hungry for people who want to build and want to be creative. So that's like a great platform to get your first maybe 100 users. I think it's very difficult if you're a completely unknown person to come into like ETH mainnet or Robinhood chain and do super well. Like that is a very, very competitive space. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people speculating, and you can even do super well on mint day and it doesn't carry. So I actually do recommend that people try smaller chains, and I recommend that people try to find things that work out for them. Look, I think there are interesting things happening on Solana. There's interesting things happening on Base, on ETH mainnet, and Robinhood chain. But right now, for the crypto space, Robinhood Chain has presented an elite opportunity for people to build with a new building block, and that's those stock tokens. I think it's a really, really big deal, and it's really good for crypto. So I recommend to talented developers to come through and try to build something. And if that something includes a token, reach out to me, and we'll see how we can integrate you in the launchpad. Because with the launchpad, we'll have the memes, we'll have everything cooking, like all the volume, and anybody who wants to deploy will have the option to deploy and a lot of custom features. But I really want to get as many middle, and high tier founders in who have experience and effort in the space to create good tokens and projects to come through there, because I think those people getting shut out by the noise of 10,000 other things deploying every second is actually not a positive for the space. I wish we could move more towards a merit-based economy in crypto, and that would lead to an end result of an in general better situation and better economy for everybody.
Tell us about when you founded Clutch Markets. Like, when did you start it and why?
Yeah, this is a good question. Why, I don't know. Sometimes it's I think I wanted to have a level of like brand recognition, so people understand that the thing SimpleFarmer is building that's Clutch Labs, right? And then you can connect the two pieces, and then you understand that like this is a team that experiments, that we're not stuck in our ways in terms of what we're willing to do or open to doing. I'm really trying to not be an on-chain corporation, but really be an on-chain laboratory that deploys a lot of experiments. And the result of those experiments, is it's always like not financial advice. You never know what's going to happen. So we're always going to keep iterating and improving. I try to lay out a plan, make the plan, then execute it at a high level, and then roll with the community. Because on a development side, I'm a one-man team. I'm now hiring some additional people to help me out for auditing, for upgrading, and to get that little extra push to bring things to the next level. But in general, I try to build things that have things like a decentralized house model or a decentralized community that's financially incentivized to help me market, to help me spread the word on stuff, because I think that is actually what the point of crypto always was.
You described Clutch Markets as a laboratory for decentralized on-chain markets. What kind of experiments do you cook up in the lab?
Yeah, so like the early things we built was right when Polymarket came out. We built a prediction market as well. That was a cool platform. And then I built a parlay prediction market, which instead of having just the two-sided predictions, you would be able to pick multiple predictions, and then the liquidity for those bets was supported by a single decentralized house. And that was our first project that caught a lot of eyes and got a lot of support in the form of grants, because I think people thought it was a novel idea. And that idea itself too is like, it's an invention, but it's also slightly a remix of picking up pieces from other things I've seen. Uh, Originally, I learned crypto by trading options on a platform called DopeX, and DopeX options use that model. They essentially let one side be the house and the other side trade options on that liquidity. And so then that translated into, well, this would be great on like a parlay platform. And I think people have found success with that use case as well, especially on ApeChain. Ape Church is doing that, and they're doing a great job. So I think these type of ideas and people iterating them and improving on them leads to healthy competition in the space, and that healthy competition creates a much better product for us. And obviously, we're struggling, with users and liquidity everywhere a little bit. Robinhood Chain is super hot right now, but to keep it up, they would need the best builders competing at a high level to impress, essentially, to create killer apps, to create killer communities. And without that, crypto doesn't have much of a future. I compared it in a previous space to like if the World Cup was played by the soccer players who are not the best soccer players in the world, but instead by G Spot's friends and Uncle Mac's friends. Like, I'm sure Uncle Mac's friends are a little better at soccer than G Spot's friends. Also, well, I don't know, British Island, but it wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't be a very good product. So, and that's been one of the issues, is that we have chain leaders, and I'm not talking about Ape Chain, talking about other chains. Chain leaders that don't promote the best products. They promote the things that maybe their employees tell them about or that their buddies tell them about. And that's not going to create a great ecosystem. It works almost like a corrupt small country where politicians are in control. They hire the police, they pick the judges, and then no progress is made because they essentially extract all the liquidity slowly. And that's what crypto kind of turned into during this last little bear cycle, I think. And I think finally we're moving away from that. And on Robinhood Chain so far, I think the projects that have gained the best traction have actually been the projects built by the most talented people, which is cool.
I got a post here. You posted on May 13th. It was your last day at ApeCo. You're going full time at Clutch Markets with the goal of building $1 billion Web3 company. So I'm sure this is inspirational for me, and I'm sure for others, because you went all in on yourself, went full-time Web3 founder, and you succeeded. Tell us how it's been going since you made that post and how you knew Clutch Markets was going to be a success.
Yeah, I mean, look, in that moment, it was surreal a little bit, because you're not working for a company anymore, and so then you don't have that cozy comfort of knowing you get a paycheck at the end of the month. But I think that hunger leads to people working and leads to invention. Like, necessity is the mother of invention. You got to burn the boats, and when you have no way back, you find a way. And so that's exactly what I've been doing. That post came out, I think, in April, and now it's July, so it's been about 3 months since that post, and I've made exceptional progress. I think I'm already proud of what we've built, even before stockbrokers. I think everything was a success in a way that we deployed a product that was safe, that people enjoyed. People speculated on it. Some people bought higher than others. These are things that I can't control what happens in secondary markets. What I can control is I can build good, useful products, and I can come onto spaces like this and streams and explain to people how they work. So that's always my priority. And in earnest, I think that mindset leads to good results.
Well, and if I can say something too, man, when Farmer, I remember when you first came on to Ape Chain with Clutch Markets, or Clutch Puppies, and minting that project, and it was, hey, if you mint 10 of these, you could, go to the leverage trading chat right on Telegram. But something that you said in there when you were getting this ready to go was, I want to make people money so they can then bring it back to what they want to bring it back to and benefit themselves and hopefully leave something for their kids that they can build over time. And I think with what you built with stocks, stockbrokers is pretty neat because it's like, man, like I'm a staker, right? I'm miner activated. So it's like, as long as I can have that there and leave it, hell, I don't care if it gets touched at all. So it's kind of like having discipline and watching that grow. So it's a really interesting model. And I think it's, yeah, revolutionary in my opinion with the tokenized stocks in there and stuff with the volume and deciding the way that that's went. But I'm sorry, I want to jump in, but I think that right there says a lot about you as a founder, is that you still kind of run on that basis of, I want to do things that actually benefit people as long as they can, benefit themselves within that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got the activated brokers. It's not to say that it doesn't work like an on-chain retirement plan. Maybe, hopefully, if we can keep pushing the fees and that scaling can continue, it depends a lot on my execution and on the community continuing to get the word out, and then us having strong projects coming to the launch pad, the VDEX working well, and stuff like that. But yeah, for sure. And these assets, these stockbrokers themselves are a hedge against crypto because they hold stocks. So theoretically, and like obviously this is nightmare scenario, like ETH goes to $10. You could have a stockbroker with $2,000 worth of stock in his wallet. That asset on ETH would be worth how much ETH? Like it'd be crazy, right? So why not hedge a little? Why not diversify? I think often we find ourselves a little bored and we flip between projects, between tokens. I've done it too. I've made 6 figures on a meme coin and I've full circle round tripped right back on another one multiple times. And I'm like really stressed during that process too, like really, really stressed. And it's like that's maybe detrimental to my health and it's detrimental to potentially my family's long-term future. So the question is like, how can we build products that incentivize people who are here anyway, right? We do this for fun, uh, to market a product that benefits them financially. And then you taking your time to host this space could potentially benefit you because maybe we onboard 2 or 3 people, and maybe 2 or 3 people leave. But with stockbrokers, when 2 or 3 people leave, they pay a 10% fee essentially that goes back. So it's not something actually to get that upset about. It's part of the flywheel. It works. So I've been really happy, and I'm glad to hear that you're in G Spot. We've onboarded some really great people, and I think these people who are in, and it's a lot of great NFT people, are the best curators for the trenches we could possibly have. And I believe the stockbrokers as a whole will have a stronger collective voice than like an Ansem tweet.
Okay, last couple things before we get into stockbrokers full on. G-Spot, can you pull up Clutch Puppies on OpenSea? And can you tell us about like Clutch Puppies, your involvement with Ape Chain beyond ApeCo, and like I guess just the idea behind Clutch Puppies?
Yeah, so this was supposed to be how my plan was essentially to build a community around the decentralized parlay platform, which was relatively new technology, but I knew I needed help in gaining distribution. So essentially in getting the word out about it. And so the holders of this NFT asset essentially were able to stake in a decentralized house that gave them rewards from people who were essentially losing bets, and they would pay out winning bets. And it was lucrative, to say the least. A lot of people did very well staking in the Clutch decentralized parlay platform. For me, it was the first attempt I've ever had at an NFT. It taught me a lot. Some things I think I did well, some things I think I did poorly, but it was successful, like well above mint price. I think minted it for 38. And the key thing that I think was really good, that worked out really well for stockbrokers, is that essentially once we announced the stockbrokers mint, what I said to people, so that we don't just leave kind of a collection stranded and a group of people who had invested perhaps money on secondary or minted in the beginning and held on the whole time, was that to mint the stockbrokers collection, to get these slots, we're going to offer people the ability to burn their old NFT. We're going to track those burns, and each burn equals one allocation essentially. And I think people like that. And the best part is it really caused an increase in floor price on secondary trading for the collection, and that got attention, like a lot of attention. And then people wanted to say, like, why is this collection pumping, right? And so when you hook them with that question, then you can finally give them the long explainer of this is this new technology stockbrokers that we're bringing into town. So it was very much a process where we aggregated community that we had built across multiple chains. So it's kind of like a missionary going to different islands and converting people to Christianity. Like you pick a couple people everywhere. At the end of the day, you got a religion, you got a huge group of people. So that worked out, I think, very successfully. And I'm very proud of the Clutch Puppies project and how it went. And there are some people I think who still hold them, and this is not something that's going to happen anytime soon, but maybe a year from now or something like that, or 2 years from now, we'll create some other proprietary technology and we'll allow whoever's left holding these to do that same burn to mint process.
Do you have any recommendations as far as people or resources for people that are looking at launching on ApeChain in particular?
Yeah, I think the team at ApeChain is great. I think people should connect to Spend, NGB Spend. I think he's a great person. The Hodler Collective as well, Lost. If you have a DeFi product or a crypto product that's more than an NFT collection, you got to reach out to Spencer. He does great BD work. He has significant experience in the industry, and he's a great person who'll really listen to you and give you good advice. I think in terms of chain team support, ApeChain is bar none, probably top of the line in terms of how much the team is willing to communicate and help the collections and the projects on their chain. They actively purchase NFT collections and their floors, and that's something no other chain does. The company, it's like ApeChain's team itself is purchasing NFTs, and that's become a normal thing actually on ApeChain, but that is not normal anywhere else. Nobody else does that. So that's something where I think people feel like they have a lot of assistance and help there. And I think I learned a lot on ApeChain. I think everybody could learn a lot. I think it's a great incubator for startups as well, and it's not a bad idea to deploy. The only thing that Uncle Mac I think said very well was that you shouldn't take it lightly. It's like if you want to launch a collection or launch a project, and if you think that this is something you're going to be able to do as a hobby for 30 minutes a day, like having like a garden, it's not like that. You have to put in high effort, especially if you're asking people to pay for your mints. Now, if it's a free mint, that comes with a different level of expectation, which I think you can take more lightly. But with paid mints especially, I think people should be very careful and be ready to perform and maybe not succeed, but at least really try to succeed.
All right. I'm ready to talk about the elephant in the room, stockbrokers. So please give me a walkthrough of stockbrokers. Like I'm someone that took a vacation last week and didn't have my phone on during mints. So now I have extreme FOMO, but I don't fully understand the project.
Okay. Well, stockbrokers is at its core a new technology. It's an assortment of smart contracts that work together to create an experience that's a little bit different than anything we've seen in NFTs or in crypto, and it has multiple layers. People can enter the ecosystem either through the stockbroker token or the stockbroker NFT, and you can swap the NFT for the token or the token for the NFT for a set amount of tokens, 666,000, a little bit more, roughly. When the users purchase the NFT, they have the option to activate that NFT. To activate the NFT, you actually have to burn tokens, and you have activation tiers. So the more tokens you burn, the higher rewards flow you get out of the protocol. And so all of the activated stockbrokers are essentially receiving protocol revenue airdrop to their wallet. And so what we've added is a special feature called Clock In, where the community is actually the one calling that feature. So they're the ones that sit there, they press this button, clock in, and that clock in process actually distributes tokens to all the activated broker wallets. So with clock in, my idea in the process was that people come, they wake up, they check if somebody needs to clock in, and that kind of gets them thinking along the path of, hey, we need to activate ourselves. We need to market, maybe put out a tweet, maybe send a DM, maybe reach out to somebody who might be interested and continue to onboard people. Because my ideal goal, how long this could take, who knows, would be 4,444 unique individuals all having one broker. And so that'll happen, like people will trade, buy and sell, but all having one broker, and that being like an elite crypto force of people who tweet on X, they talk about the new projects that are coming out, and we kind of become the curators of the trenches, and we're financially incentivized to do so. And as the person who founded this, my push will always be to not overlook people and to try to help promote the people that want to put an effort, that are creative individuals, and that are here to stay long term. And obviously, we're going to get in crypto. You'll always have people trying to extract via tokens or mints. But I think this group of people can be an elite onboarding force, especially for Robinhood Chain, which is very new. I think this can represent a core culture in a community. And we already have the motto "Clock In," which I think is working very well.
Can you explain how people are financially incentivized to become curators of the trenches?
Yeah, of course. So the activated brokers essentially, they receive distributions from the protocol revenue itself, and that revenue is derived from people trading on the AMM, so moving between the token, the NFT, and the NFT and the token, taking loans on the NFT itself. And in the future, so this is something new that hasn't been tried, we'll actually have a token launch pad, which is coming out next Friday, and we're going to have a DEX, like a VDEX. And so that's like a Uniswap or an Aerodrome, more specifically, is a better example. DEXs are an elite DeFi tool. The majority of crypto revenue is made from people swapping between tokens. And so our goal with building this product is making sure that there is ample fees and revenue, so these people, are rewarded essentially for holding their asset and bag working, clocking in. So it's very much a process where we have a roadmap. We have a 4-phase plan. We're going to execute all 4 phases no matter what at a high level. And then we'll let it go, because all of these contracts, this whole ecosystem is going to work without any additional backend support, without any external APIs or features like that. This is a collection and a technology that people will essentially, if they want to, can host on their own website and just call the smart contracts of these functionalities. And I think by the end, we'll have 30 to 40 smart contracts all working together to create this giant fee revenue generating engine. And then we get the situations where it's like myself, G-Spot, you, Grimy, Uncle Mac, and 4,000 other people. We own Uniswap together, and if one of us wants to leave, we can. We sell our asset, somebody else comes in. But the key important feature is that when somebody else does come in to the ecosystem, they have to activate again. So the activation of the NFT doesn't carry. It gets eliminated anytime anybody transfers it. But the stock tokens that the NFT is collecting, they do carry, because these are token-bound wallets.
There's so many angles to this. It's brilliant. I wanted to ask, what was the launch process like? And aside from clutch puppies, was there any other way to get guaranteed mint? And how quickly did it mint out?
Yeah, we also had a Pop Cup collection on ETH mainnet, where essentially people were participating in another experiment where I decided to turn an NFT into a prediction market for the World Cup. And so these dogs were like, they had jerseys of the national teams, and based on the results of the World Cup, they would get rewards. And that was a cool experiment. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. And those people who obviously stuck on to the finals, I think they were very happy, to be able to mint stockbrokers then after that as a continuation of our on-chain experimentation. So that was another collection that was essentially a burn to mint. And the people that have come in have been great community members. There are people who are believers, I think, in what the ethos of the cypherpunk vision and what crypto is supposed to be, in that these are decentralized financial technologies that are supposed to, help us replace the banking system and not create new banks on chain, essentially.
I love the concept of people owning the DEX also. I forgot to mention that previously. So Robinhood's crypto team called Stonkbrokers the most fun launch. Can you tell us how that came up?
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I think it's a bit of a moment of fate, to be honest, in that I was invited to participate in this Arbitrum 1 hackathon. And they said, Robinhood Chain is coming, and the biggest struggle for everybody in crypto is distribution, gaining users. And I thought Robinhood had a unique opportunity to bring in users, just because they have such a great platform, and they have people who aren't really crypto aligned. They're mostly stock aligned. And so those are interesting new users for us. And so then I decided to actually develop a project on their testnet, where people could essentially come through, mint this NFT collection that had these token-bound wallets. People could try the early beta version of the Stonk launcher, which is way different now, and actually try everything on testnet. And on testnet on Robinhood Chain, they actually only gave us 5 assets. They gave us ETH, and they gave us 4 stock tokens. So they very much told us, hey, these are the building blocks you're going to have to work with on our chain when it goes live. So we were, 6 months early to the party, essentially 7 months early to the party. I was very excited to do it, and people were excited to mint them. And I made sure everybody knew that, once mainnet goes live with stockbrokers, would be going live there. But I added things as I been developing over the past 6 months. I learned more things, and so I wanted to add them to this ecosystem, and it's been very successful. And I'm very happy with everything, with how the mint went, with how the website works, with how the application works. It's really NFTs 2.0, and it's important because these NFTs, their token, essentially their fractionalized token, it's listed on Polyonyx, it's listed on LBank, it's listed for perpetual futures on MEXC and Weeks. This is the first time an NFT collection is listed on centralized exchanges via its token. That's a big deal. NFT communities are some of the best communities in crypto. They're some of the best marketers in crypto. Their market cap in correspondence to meme coins is like 1%. They have 1% of the market cap of meme coins, but they have an infinitely better community. And that's because the infrastructure for NFTs was never built to scale. And so that's what our project has been for the past couple of months, is bringing that scalability to the best marketing people in crypto.
I think that's really funny and interesting that the only tokens they gave you other than Ethereum were stock tokens, definitely trying to push people in a certain direction. How much work went into this in the Robinhood testnet before you launched it? Like, how many months were you working on this?
It was about 2 or 3 weeks on the testnet version. With testnet, you don't have to stress too much. It's not real money on testnet, and there's not a lot of pressure. The important thing was to make clean, safe, smart contracts, solid UI, and an easy experience. And so then we submitted it. We actually didn't win that hackathon, which is funny because it was a hackathon governed by Arbitrum One, and so they picked another team, which I was obviously not happy about. I thought we were the best project. We had the most users on testnet from anybody by far. So I was like, that's weird that we didn't win. But then later, essentially, Robinhood Chain had a presentation, and they were like, our testnet's live. It did really well, and this was the most fun project on our testnet. And it was, boom, a picture of stockbrokers on the wall. And I thought that was super cool. That was a great moment. That was better than winning the hackathon itself. That recognition from Robinhood Chain meant a lot, and obviously that's carried a lot of value now into the stockbrokers on mainnet.
Congrats. I wanted to ask, when did you find out about Robinhood Chain? How did you find out about it?
Yeah, I'm very close with the team at Arbitrum One. In the very early days, essentially they told, as soon as the announcement came out, maybe not before anybody else knew, but I knew. I was one of the very early people to know that Robinhood Chain was going to be an Arbitrum One L2. And then they did, a seminar with Vitalik in France. They did a lot of announcements around it. This was 7 months ago. They've been preparing for this for a long time. They've been working on, the legality and structure behind their stock tokens. They've been working on that technology a lot because they have to have one-for-one paired assets for these stock tokens. So, one share of NVIDIA has to have one share of NVIDIA that they're storing somewhere. Always one for one. They can't have stock tokens that exist on their chain where they don't have those stocks in some type of proxy vault, essentially. So I think that's a technology they've been working on for a long time. And Arbitrum One is a great partner for them because Arbitrum One is in Washington, D.C. And they are working very hard on making sure crypto regulations are built in a way that, good teams can scale. And RWAs are super important infrastructure for us. People care about them. Even people in crypto, people outside of crypto obviously care about stocks, but even people in crypto care about stocks because it's a type of asset that makes you feel safe. This is why people, I think, put their retirement funds into stock tokens, because these are companies that aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
You kind of explained how tokenized stocks work there. I was going to ask you, but for stockbrokers, like, how did you come up with this?
Yeah, I think it takes a little bit of bits and pieces from everything that I've learned along my path, and then also taking this new technology, these stock tokens themselves, as the actual carrot, the reward distribution. I've always thought ERC 6551 is really cool. The fact that these NFTs have their own wallets, I thought that was an underutilized technology in crypto. The first time I saw that was actually on a chain called Senko Chain, where they had a game. It was like a farm build style game where these little buns characters had a wallet, and then in their wallet they would carry seeds, and then you walk around with the character and you'd plant the seeds. And I was like, wait a second, like this NFT represents this character and it has a wallet? Like that's good tech. Like we need to use that more. And so that's why I really wanted to make that a part of stockbrokers. And I think that's one of the things that makes them super special. I think it's maybe the best example of ERC 6551 ever deployed on chain, and I think that's cool. That technology is something that gave them a lot of provenance.
Yeah, honestly, I'd never heard of that type of contract before. Stockbrokers, G-Spot was talking to me about it before the show. I think it's really interesting. Can you tell us about the 4-phase flywheel and like how it works?
Yeah, so essentially when people swap between the broker and the NFT and the NFT and the broker, that accumulates ETH into a vault. And that vault is essentially the thing that powers the fees. And that's kind of phase one. Phase two is the launchpad itself, where 50% of the fees that come from the launchpad are essentially also going to the brokers. So the brokers are very much incentivized to make sure that those tokens coming out of the launchpad do well, because the more volume those tokens have, the more rewards they get. So they become excellent curators for that launchpad. The third part is the DEX, like I mentioned, where same thing, swap fees go back. And I think, I think we'll have a lot of people using the DEX. The stockbrokers will definitely use the DEX because then it's like shopping local. We have like a grocery store here, Kroger. You shop at Kroger because if you get enough of a big enough of a receipt, you get 3 cents off on your gas. Like it makes sense. It gives back. And so I think that's a similar process with using a DEX that you own, right? It's like having your own bar. It's like drinking at your own bar, G-Spot. It's way better. You get a little back. It's cheaper, that's for sure. So I think that is gonna be a big deal. And also on the DEX, we're gonna have things like DCA, things that Jupiter has for like swapping into tokens that I think people really enjoy and make tokens scale better. A good trading ecosystem is super important. And then phase 4 is going to be decentralized options, which is probably going to be the most difficult thing to onboard people into because it's the most complex thing. But decentralized options are, in my opinion, the best form of leverage trading because it's leverage trading without liquidations. Right now, a lot of people trade perps and they get liquidated a lot, and our assets are very choppy. Options, especially decentralized options, they actually stabilize assets because every time if you have a call option and the price of a token exceeds that call option, when somebody takes profit on it, it puts in a sell order on it. So that actually pulls down that spike. Same thing, if somebody has puts on a token essentially, and that token goes down sharply, when they take profit on their put, it actually puts in a buy order on chain, which helps that chart recover. Stocks do tons of volume in options. Crypto does tons of volume in perps, and I think it's actually one of the problems we have. I think it's actually pretty bad for us, and I think a lot of people lose money on perps, and we'd be much better off trading options at scale. And now that we have Robinhood Chain, we have super liquid assets, which are these stock tokens. That'll make it that much easier.
So like these option or tokenized options, like is this something that Robinhood's putting out or something that you guys are personally working on?
Oh no, that's something I'm working on. And the way that I've actually already built a decentralized options exchange. So it's really just about plugging in the stock tokens. That's probably my most ready product of the next 3 phases. The decentralized options exchange is super cool because when you purchase an option, like a call or a put, you actually get an NFT minted to your wallet that represents that option. And then you can sell your option on secondary. So then you can actually buy and purchase covered calls or puts, and you can also sell them. So for example, if you're $10 in the profit, but there's a potential $200 upside, you could sell that for maybe like $7, or I mean, sell that maybe for like $50, more than what you could get right away in that moment, because that's what people do when they're trading stocks at a high level as well on like Wall Street and stuff. Do you guys mind if I step away for just a second? I have to use the restroom. It's just been in here for a long, and I've been drinking a lot of water.
Understand.
I'll be right back.
Uncle Mac, what are you doing over there, bro?
I've got how many screens have I got? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens. This screen I'm watching you. This screen building something maybe to do with this fella who's just come for a wee. This screen is my other side screen. This screen is my Unreal Engine building screen, and then that screen is also doing the Unreal Engine building. So yeah, I'm building like 4 different things while we're sat here. That's what I'm doing. I'm drinking a cider and making this guy look smart, because that's what I'm here to do, right? I came in, I was like, oh, look at all my pretty pictures, and he's like, I'm gonna make you rich.
Get
So-
out of here. Get out of here.
You got 5 screens. You definitely could have launched an NFT collection.
I mean, I could literally. I'm not gonna do it. We're not doing it. No, we're not doing it.
No.
We're cooking something fun now.
He wouldn't give us the alpha farmer. We tried to squeeze him for it.
All right. So
Can you guys hear me?
yeah. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay, cool. So tell us about first off, G-Spot, can you pull up the video posted by Clutch Markets? It was earlier today, the Stonk Exchange Launchpad officially coming to Robinhood chain. And you mentioned it a couple times. Can you tell us like about the Stonk Exchange in detail, like on 5 after G-Spot plays this video? Is it supposed to have sound?
Is there no sound?
There's no sound for me.
Cool.
It's supposed to.
Give me a second here. Let's see if I can fix this thing.
What
Refresh that bad boy.
So-
Well, I guess we got no sound.
I broke it. Give me a
Well,
second.
see if you can figure it out. But in the meantime, SimpleFarmer, can you tell us about the Stonk Exchange Launchpad and the Stonk Exchange?
Yeah, so on Robinhood Chain, we have a like really unique situation. First of all, you have the stock tokens, and you have like a really high volume situation where a lot of people are trading on tokens. I think what's important with the stock exchange is, like I mentioned earlier, that we get high effort tokens coming through there and people, experimenting on chain, just like we did with Stonk brokers. I would love as many of those type of developers and deployers to come through and launch on the stock exchange. And I think you may have seen today that the slop father, Michael Hirsch, as well, is going to be deploying via the stock launcher. But in addition to that, we're going to have very customizable launches. So all of the types of tokens you've seen already in crypto, you're going to be able to deploy there. And you're also going to be able to remix them like very heavily. So one cool thing is, like on Robinhood Chain, you can launch a token, for example, that's paired with NVIDIA as the base asset, or that's paired with SpaceX, or that's paired with silver. So theoretically, on the Stonk launcher, for example, you could launch a strategy token that is like, kind of like how the NFT strategy tokens worked, but it's paired with the silver token as a base asset. And maybe it buys silver with its fees. And then the people who are holding the token can purchase that silver at a discount, stuff like that. And that's just like one example. Also, I'm experimenting with the idea of having tokens that you can trade on, but those tokens being like battle coins. So there's like 2 or 3 tokens that deploy together. And then essentially VRNG dictates every like hour or 24 hours, depending on what you set, which token wins that battle. And so that's a bit of a remix on something I was working on previously called the Civilizations Protocol that is still in beta that I'm still working on. But that's essentially the concept, is like you'd be able to launch like 4 tokens, and you can call them, Butt Coin, Table Coin, and Cola Coin. And every 12 hours, you set the VRNG to ping the contract. And at that moment, the VRNG actually enables the contract to be called. So somebody can pull the LP from the other 2 tokens and then use all of that LP to buy the one token that won, essentially. And then that cycle repeats over and over again. And I think that's a fun on-chain experiment. And that's something that you'll be able to do on the Stock Exchange Launchpad. Maybe not on day 1, but definitely soon.
I fixed it.
Let's hear it.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
If y'all knew what I did, y'all'd make fun of me.
actually scale. Not bonding curves, not templates, not even influencers. It's architecture, because every project is different, so why launch like everyone else?
Real projects need custom control, flexible liquidity, true freedom.
Combine custom mechanics with 28 million retail traders on Robinhood. That's where Stonk Launcher comes in. The customizable token launchpad by stockbrokers. Engineered to design, deploy, distribute, and dominate. Don't just launch a token, build a legacy. What makes a
Solid. And
Thank you.
the liquidity game sounds real fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'd be those would be the most fairly launched meme coins ever.
Yeah.
So, you know, because it's not one person deciding which one pumps. It's just random numbers. And, you know, hopefully we'll have some people develop some great random number technology on Robinhood Chain.
Looking forward to seeing how this plays out on the 31st.
Yeah. And the most important thing is that we have good high quality launches, like I said. And then the tokens, however many tokens come through, doing good volume, the more volume they do, the better it is for the stock brokers. So I think all of the stock brokers you're seeing PFPing right now, they're going to come out in a big way for a lot of these projects.
I saw a post from you that was a first 44-hour report, and it said you guys had 83K in Anvil AMM fees, 265 clock-ins, and 68K in stock tokens distributed. Can you explain like what these milestones mean?
Yeah, I mean, so essentially that's the AMM, that's the NFT fractionalization process that's powering those fees. And there's also, you know, a pool that people can snipe from if they want to get a specific stockbroker that they resonate with, especially if, you know, if they want to PFP it. But what it means is that we're the number 6 revenue generating protocol on all of Robinhood Chain, ahead of OpenSea and behind Virtuals, which I think is a huge achievement. And it's especially huge because that's not an achievement that's mine. That's an achievement that's collectively shared among all of the people who are the activated brokers.
Did you say above OpenSea?
Yeah, we have. If you go on DeFi Llama right now, maybe you could pull that up. That would be really cool. This is the website that I nerd out on.
You said pull up what? I'm sorry, one more time.
DeFi Llama.
DeFi Llama.
Yeah.
Did you post a link with that on the post?
No,
I did. Yesterday, I did.
Got you. Zoom.
Yes. So you can see here, and we actually, if you go to if you find Robinhood Chain, you can see all of their protocols. So if you go to just like the homepage of DeFi Llama, and you should be able to find Robinhood Chain. There you go. And if you scroll down, and you can sort by fees. Don't do 24 hours because obviously you can do fees like over a week, for example. I think if you scroll more to the right. Can you scroll right?
Please hold.
Okay.
I had the scroll bar come up. Get out of here, bro. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I mean, it hasn't been around nothing has been around for 30 days, but you can do 7 days. Fees 7 days, right there.
Right here.
Yeah. And there you go. You see them right there. Number 6. Actually, another team flipped OpenSea there too. So we're number 6 on DeFi Llama for revenue, which is a big deal. Hopefully we can flip Virtuals. Number 1 is Uniswap, which is a DEX, which we will have, right? We'll have our own DEX. Number 2 and 3 are token launchpads, which we'll also have. So essentially, using just phase 1, the NFT AMM, we're number 6. What can we do when the other layers of this activate? If we can get to that top spot, that would equate to millions of dollars daily in fees being distributed to a collective community of NFT holders.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's crazy. I mean, especially if this is only the NFT volume, basically.
It is. It's only the volume of the people swapping between token and NFT and token right now, essentially.
Yeah,
Wow.
congrats. It looks like you're really sweeping Robinhood Chain right now.
Yep. We have a long way to go. I still have to execute on the 4-phase plan, which I'll do. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Hopefully, I want to take that top spot from Uniswap.
So if you could share any alpha with us, if everything goes according to plan, what does success look like for stockbrokers and Clutch in the next 1 to 2 years?
Well, I think it's already successful, to be fair.
I'm not trying to say that. I just mean, what are your plans?
In 1 to 2 years, I would love for this to be something, because those technologies exist on chain. I would love to execute this 4-phase plan, and then essentially the community in a decentralized manner. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop to charge. The community in a decentralized manner actually working together to continue to scale it with inventions, with products, with new things that come through the launchpad, right? Because if we have infinite good projects and inventions come through the launchpad, every single one of those projects always benefits the stockbrokers. So I think the scalability long term was going to come a lot from external actors who are using this as a venue, as essentially a Shark Tank of sorts. Right? You're the Shark Tank. There's 4,444 sharks, and the sharks are going to let people know what they think is dope and what it isn't. They're going to speculate on it. Other people on the chain are going to speculate on it, and all that's going to result in revenue. And I think that's fun.
Is there anything else that I've missed that you would like to share with people about stockbrokers or any part of the exchange or the token?
No, I mean, I would just say that this is new experimental technology. Crypto, highly volatile assets. I never know what's going to happen with ETH. We are paired with ETH. Stockbrokers is the 3rd most liquid token on Robinhood chain, which is cool, considering CashCat is 70 million market cap. Being 3rd highest by liquidity is a big deal, which means there's a lot of liquidity supporting these assets.
Wow.
It's by far the most liquid NFT in history, by far.
Really?
Oh yeah. And so how would I define liquidity? I would define it as total floor bids plus, in this case, an LP, which is 2 LPs. There's actually one with USDG, which is USDC on Robinhood chain, and one with ETH. And I'm going to try to get as many community members as possible, and myself too, wherever I can, to start pairing the stockbroker token with a lot of stocks on Uniswap. So I would love for this to be supported one day by hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of NVIDIA as well, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Microsoft, or Tesla, or SpaceX. And then the collection becomes a levered bet on these companies.
Congrats on the huge success of the collection. I'm looking forward to see what comes from it.
Thank you.
One last question I have for you. What advice do you have for developers who want to create something meaningful in the space?
Yeah, I mean, if you've gotten started, don't give up. Try to make good connections with good people. But like I said, try to offer service before asking for favors. And that doesn't mean offer a paid service. I especially get a turn off if somebody messages me to do something for me, and then they also are like, yeah, I can do this for you, and it's going to cost you $2,000. But it's well, I wasn't really asking for you to do a job for me in the first place. I think with companies, a lot of people intern first, right? You do free things just out of the goodness of your heart, and then companies hire you. And I think crypto works in a very similar way.
Well, thank you for joining us and sharing about your project, both SimpleFarmer and Uncle Mac. I appreciate you guys making it out here. And yeah, we got to wrap up in about a minute because we got a hard cap at 2 hours with the streaming channel. But thank you guys for coming on the show and talking about your projects. It's been a great time.
Thank you, guys.
Y'all take it easy, fellas.
Thanks for having me.
G-Spot, you want to cue up the intro on the way out until we hit...
ネオンのジャングル夜を飛び越えて画面の向こうから叫びがバズってるグライミーフランキー歯を見せて笑うGスポットは指先でチャートを切り裂くスマホの光が瞳に火をつけて今夜も始まるよ猿たちの配信準備はいいかって世界に投げてコインの波間を一緒に泳ぐんだア まで届